All right, guys, this is in the rational expression packet. It said remembering rational expressions on the front page, and now we are on the third page. We did multiplying and dividing on maybe Tuesday. Does that sound about right? Maybe Wednesday when everybody was gone. All right, anyway, multiplying and dividing, this is a warm-up on that, and we're just going to do number 2. So multiplying and dividing is basically seeing if anything simplifies. So dividing means we have to flip the second one upside down, and we have to factor everything because we can't, wow, that's a nice straight line. Can't cancel unless it's a factor. We can't cancel when there's addition or subtraction. So the first fraction, we just have v minus 6 over, and the denominator factors, anybody have that yet? I'm thinking 9 and 8 would give us a 1 in the middle. Plus 9 minus 8 to get a negative 72 at the back, and 9 minus 8 would give us a 1v in the middle. Okay. We said we have to flip this guy over, so this is now going to the top. What can we do to 5v minus 5? Take out a 5 and we'll have v minus 1. And then this guy, we take out a 5 in the denominator and we'll end up with a what? 6 minus v. Good job. All right. Unfortunately, this was not a huge amount of canceling, right? Unless I did something wrong. 5 cancels. And a 6 minus v cancels with a v minus 6. But do you remember what that means? Yeah, we need a negative 1 somewhere. So on the top, I have a negative 1 and a v minus 1. And in the denominator, I have a v plus 9 and a v minus 8. The answers are on the back, upside down at the bottom, I think. Maybe for this part too. Just checking my answers here. Yeah, the only thing, did they distribute the negative through the top? Yes, so they made this negative v plus 1 over v plus 9, v minus 8. Boy, I can't scrunch that in there too much. All right, any questions? Okay, so if we had done number 1, we just would have factored and then reduced. We wouldn't have to flip anything over. We can just skip it. We're good. All right, moving on. Let's do both of these. Now, in order to be able to add or subtract, you need to have a common denominator. And a common denominator does not mean that you cross multiply, okay? I get some crazy business by people doing like a cross multiply thing. That's not what this is. This, if we factor a 3 out of the denominator, we'll have an m plus 5. Everybody okay there? So this is what we have so far. So what is the common denominator for both of those? They already both have an m plus 5, so we just need to do what? The common denominator is going to be 3 and m plus 5. So this one already has it. This one needs to multiply by a 3 over 3 so that it will become a 6m over 3m plus 5s. And I don't care if you don't show all of this on every problem. I'm just trying to make sure you're following what I'm doing at this point. Now, we can add the top. Nothing adds together, but since they have a common denominator, we get 2 plus 6m over the quantity 3m plus 5. Now, I probably as a student would have factored a 2 out of the top and said that's 1 plus 3m over 3m plus 5. But because nothing cancels or reduces, it's okay to leave this here, and I'm guessing that might be what they did. Is that what they left it? Okay. Now, when we move to number 4, nothing factors in the denominators. So the common denominator is going to require that we have each of those factors. So right now, this has a 6 and an x plus 6. It will need in the denominator a factor of 5x plus 2. So we will need to multiply the top also by a factor of 5x plus 2. So we're multiplying by 1 here by making it 5x plus 2 over 5x plus 2. This one already has a 5x plus 2. And it has an x plus 2 on the top. What does it need to multiply by top and bottom so that the denominator is the same? An x plus 6 over an x plus 6. Now, because they have a common denominator, it's okay to just write, this is my new denominator. Okay? I didn't do that until the end on this step. I could have done it here because we have a common denominator. I just wanted to make sure you saw that it was common. But we got a bunch of stuff going on the top. Can we distribute this 6 here? What do we get? I know mine's written really far from the parenthesis, but it is still distributed through there. 30x plus 12. Did I do that right? And over here, unfortunately, we have a binomial time as a binomial, so we need to do the whole FOIL thing. So we get a plus x squared. And it is adding. That's much nicer when it's addition in the middle. We don't have to distribute a negative anywhere. We have a plus 6x on the outside terms, a plus 2x on the inside terms, and the last term times the last term would be 2 times 6 or 12. All right, we have an x plus 6 and a 5x plus 2 in the denominator. I have an x squared. What else can I combine with like terms up top? We got a 30x, a 6x, and a 2x. Can I combine all those? Be 38x. And then I had a 12 and a 12 back here, so plus 24. I don't think that's going to factor, so I think that's our answer, because nothing's going to reduce anyway. Somebody checking, does that look right? Okay. All right, so again on this one, I would suggest that we factor the denominator just because I think it will help. Not get rid of anything, but what can we take out of that denominator on that one? We can take out a 3. I don't think this is going to help us much. We'd have a 2r minus 3. Yeah, that's not helping. But our denominator now needs to have an r plus 3. What else? A 3 and a 2r minus 3. All of those factors need to be in the denominator, and you can put them in any order you want. So this one had a 6. What do we need to multiply it by? Because it was just a 6 over an r plus 3. We need to multiply a 3 top and bottom and a 2r minus 3 top and bottom. This one has a 3 and a 2r minus 3. What do we need to multiply to it? Top and bottom still. And r plus 3. All right, so the common denominator for both will have a 3 in any order, an r plus 3, and a 2r minus 3. Because we're multiplying, the order doesn't matter. Whew. 6 times 3 over here is 18, and we need to distribute that through that 2r minus 3, which I'm not happy with the way that looks. All right, if we distribute that 18, we get 36r minus 18 times 3. Somebody check me. 54 maybe? Is that right? Okay. What are we distributing next? We could just distribute a 4, but we'd still have to deal with this minus. It really would go better for us if we distributed this as a negative 4, okay? Otherwise, we're going to lose the fact that we're subtracting. So if we distribute that as a negative 4, we get a negative 4r, but we also get a negative 12. Anybody following me there? All right, now simplify on the top. 36r minus 4r is 32r. Negative 54 minus 12 more would be negative 66. All right, now we can factor out of the top just a 2, I think, right? But is it going to do us any good? Is there a 2 we can divide out of the bottom? Nope. So I think we're good. Is that the answer they have? Okay. All right. This is one again where you don't want to do the cross multiply thing, and some of you like to think of that as a shortcut because they already have a bit of a common denominator. What can I take out of the denominator down here? If I take out a 4, what's left is x plus 2. This one has an x plus 2 and another x plus 2. So what does this first one need that it doesn't currently have? What is the common denominator, I guess, is what I need. It needs a 4 and an x plus 2 twice, or an x plus 2 squared. Okay, that's the common denominator. So right now, it has a 4 and an x plus 2, so it needs another x plus 2. And again, I'm okay if you show less work than this. I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands. Back here, it had an x plus 2 and an x plus 2, or an x plus 2 quantity squared. You don't have to write it out twice. What does it need multiplied top and bottom, though? A 4. So now we have a 4 and an x plus 2. Is it okay if I just get lazy and finally write it as a quantity squared? All right, what's happening here? When I distribute, I get a 3x plus 6. And back here, all I have is a minus 8, which is a 3x minus 2 up top. Now, on my paper, after I get the idea, probably would not have shown that many steps. So, could you have, some of you probably could have shown less work, but you need to show you're getting a common denominator and where that's coming from. Questions? All right, do we have more? Oh, big star on one. I don't know what's going on. This is the end, isn't it, for the notes? Yeah, okay. So we have a 5m over, I'm not sure it'll help us, but we could take a 2 out down there. And then we'd have a 7m minus 9. Yeah, that didn't really help anything. All right. And what I probably would have done if I were you is wanted to save a little room, save some work, just leave some extra room in there. Because what does this one need to multiply by now? An m plus 8 over an m plus 8. And this one needs to multiply by both a 2 and an 7m minus 9. You could put the 2 out in front, doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm distributing here. What do I get? Nice and loud, somebody. 5m squared plus 40m, okay? Now, what am I distributing back here? I'm just going to write that denominator once under all of it. Be careful. I'm going to distribute that as a -6. Does everybody see that? So I don't forget that I'm subtracting. So -3 times 2 is -6 times 7m would be -42m. And then -6 times -9 is plus 54. All right, what does the top become? (5m squared). 40m minus 42m would be -2m, and a plus 54. Hello, are we good? You checked? Okay. Everybody's good? I just saw you check in. Okay. We could try to fiddle with the top to see if it factored. I don't think it does, at least not anything that's going to divide. I usually just look at those bottom factors to see, is there any chance that either any of those things on the bottom are going to go into the top? If, you know, we're not going to have a factor of m plus 8 when 54 doesn't have a factor of 8. So it's, and I'm pretty sure 7m is not going to show up when we have a 5m squared. So it's, just leave it. I know it's uncomfortable, but the ones on the quiz are pretty straightforward. This one has stars. Oh, I remember. Okay. Look at that first one. It has a 10n. What can I do in the denominator? Take out a 2, and that gives me an n plus 1. Why did I put a star there? Anybody know? What do you think, Paige? Yeah, we can reduce this to make it nicer from the beginning. If we divide the 2 into the 10, we actually have a 5n up there. Now our common denominator won't need that 2, right? If we hadn't noticed that and we waited till the end, it means at the end a 2 would have divided out of everything probably. All right, but right now we have a 5n, and what's that denominator going to need? This mess, right? 7n plus 9. And back here, this 3n that's already got a 7n plus 9 is going to need an n plus 1. All right, take a minute, distribute on the top. It's addition again. I like when it's addition. It's not, I don't have to worry about distributing that negative. Simplify, see what you get. Antoine, you awake? Is that a no? Are you okay, Antoine? Right. Let's see, I got 35n squareds plus, that was a 9, right? I can't even read my handwriting anymore. 45n. Back here, I got a 3n squared plus a 3n. All right, I got a 38n squared when I combine like terms and a plus 48n. Now I can take an n and a 2 out of those, but is there a factor in the denominator that would help if I had an n or a 2 taken out? Nope, nothing's going to simplify. Is that what they have? Okay. Thanks for always checking for me that I didn't make a mistake somewhere. I'm going to tell you right now before you panic. The one on the quiz is probably something like this: 3 over x plus 5 minus 2 over x minus 1 or something. It's not got big messiness everywhere, okay? You are to do 9 through 13 on the back, which I think is, what, 4 or 5 questions? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, it looks to me like both 12 and 13, I have a star on mine. Anybody see what's going to happen on 12? Just to give you a hint here. If you take a 3 out of the denominator, then we can actually divide that 3 out, right? And then it's a pretty easy question, a little bit easier anyway. And something similar happens on 13, okay? Does that help? 5 questions, go, you can do it.